All right, let's dive into something that every single one of us does, or, well, should be doing, every single time we get behind the wheel. Today, we're breaking down the absolute must-know, legally required rules for signaling when you drive. But you know what? Before we get into the nitty-gritty, I've got a question for you. What is the one thing you absolutely must do before you even think about flipping that turn signal? Seriously, think about it. The answer is the rock-solid foundation of driving safely, and you'd be surprised how many people get it backward. So, the whole legal idea behind signaling, it really boils down to this one super important principle. Think of it as the law's two-step safety check that you've got to use for every single move you make on the road. Now, the key legal word here is ascertain. I know, it sounds a little formal, kind of stuffy, right? But all it really means is to find out for certain. In driving terms, it just means you have to confirm with your own eyes that there's enough space to do what you want to do, safely. This isn't just a friendly tip, it's the law. So here's how that plays out, the golden rule. Step 1, check. You check your mirrors, you glance over your shoulder at your blind spot, you make absolutely sure it is safe to go. And only after you've done that do you move on to step 2. You signal. You let everyone else on the road know what you're about to do. Safety check first, signal second. Always. Okay, so you've checked and it's safe to move. Now what? Well, let's talk about the most common way we signal, our car's own built-in lights. These are your go-to primary tools for communicating with other drivers. And the law is super clear about when you need to use these signals. Obviously, when you're turning left or right, when you hit the brakes to stop or even just to slow down, when you're changing lanes, and yep, even when you're pulling out from being parallel parked. Pretty much any time you're changing your car's direction or speed, you got a signal. And here's the most important part. Clarity. Your signal isn't just a random flicker of light. It's a precise declaration. The law literally says it has to show the exact move you're planning to make. There's no room for guessing games on the road. Now here's a specific rule that sometimes trips people up pulling out of a parallel park. If you're parked on the right-hand side of the road, you use your left signal to show you're moving into traffic. Makes sense. But say you're on a one-way street and parked on the left side, you actually use your right signal. Why? Because you're showing you're moving to the right, back into the flow of traffic. It's all about indicating your direction of entry. Okay, but what happens when our trusty technology fails us? And it does. That's where your backup plan comes in. Hand signals might seem a little old school, but trust me, they are a critical safety skill that every single driver needs to have in their back pocket. I mean, just picture it for a second. You're cruising down the road and a bulb burns out. Suddenly, your brake lights are out or your turn signal is dead. How in the world do you tell the person behind you what you're doing? This is exactly why hand signals aren't just for vintage cars. They're for every driver, every day. And the great news is the system is incredibly simple. All 3 of the main hand signals are made using just your left arm right out the driver's side window. Let's run through them real quick. So for a left turn, it's the most intuitive one. You just stick your left arm straight out, horizontal to the ground, pointing the way you want to go. Simple as that. For a right turn, you're still going to use that left arm. You stick it out the window, but this time you bend your elbow to make a 90-degree angle with your hand pointing up to the sky. And finally, for stopping or slowing down in a big way, you just extend that left arm out and point it down towards the road, with your palm facing back. It's a universal sign for, hey, I'm braking. And here's a cool little piece of trivia hidden in the rules. The hand signal for a left turn, that's your arm straight out, is the exact same signal you use for pulling out into traffic from a parking spot on the right side of the road, which when you think about it makes perfect sense because both moves involve shifting to the left. Whew, okay, we've covered a lot of ground. So let's boil all this down into a simple, powerful takeaway, your on-the-road cheat sheet that you can keep in your head every time you start the car. This little table right here is your best friend. For a left turn, you've got your left signal light or your arm straight out. For a right turn, right signal light or your arm up. Stopping, brake lights or arm down. And pulling out from the right side, left signal light or, you guessed it, arm straight out. That's your entire communication playbook right there. But look, if you only remember one single thing from all of this, please let it be the number 2. Every single driving maneuver is always a 2-step process. First, you check that it's safe, you ascertain. Second, you signal. That order is absolute. It is non-negotiable. And that really brings us to the final big idea. What is a turn signal really for? It is not a request button. You are not asking other drivers for permission to merge or to turn. No, it is a declaration. It's a clear, confident statement to everyone around you that says, I have already checked, I have confirmed it is safe, and now I am making my move. And you know what? Understanding that difference, that changes everything about how you drive.